Hey guys, Horror Man back for another review. So today we're just going to take basically a quick look at what the GameStop exclusive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 versions look like in the box. Now these are made by NECA Toys and they're part of their ongoing line of Ninja Turtles movie figures. Now I do have my SDCC ones that are already open, so we'll take a quick look at those as well. And I am going to open at least one of the Gamestop Foot Soldiers, but I am going to leave the Shredder and Splinter at least in the box. But I wanted to get you a little bit of an idea of what they look like in the box, and I'll do a little comparison with in-box versions of the Turtles as well. Alright, so taking a look at Shredder and Splinter first, you can see they're both clearly displayed inside of each of the window boxes, which looks really nice. We do get basically the same artwork that we saw with the Turtles, where you basically have that 1990 like movie poster. It just says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have their corresponding name on each of the individual boxes. It does say Nickelodeon at the bottom left, and then you get that Only at GameStop sticker on the right. Now I imagine these will be released eventually, possibly at other different companies and worldwide, of course, so you may not get the sticker on some of the different releases. Over to the side of the box, you do get a nice clear image of the figures themselves. So of course you get Splinter on the left and then Shredder on the right. Now with the Shredder, I know it's a quarter scale image that we've seen before, but with this Splinter, we have not seen this image from what I remember, so this is a new image of this figure. Over to the side, you do get a couple more pictures of the figures themselves. Not much on the bottom of the box, just the credits for the figures themselves. So you get everything from the director all the way to the package designer. A couple people to really note on here is Trevor Zammit, which has sculpted almost everything Ninja Turtles related, and of course Randy Falk, who's really stuck with this line and NECA for a long time. So give those guys a hand. You do get some UPC codes on here. And then finally over to the back of the box, you do get a read-up for each different character. Now it is for the most part the same, but about right here and right here you actually get a slightly different read-up for each character, which is kind of nice. And then with the Splinter pictures, again, these are newer pictures that we didn't see before, and then the quarter scale Shredder pictures are still on the back of this Shredder box. Taking a quick look at the Foot Soldiers in packaging, again, you got the figure clearly displayed in that window box, which is really nice, and you can see that they definitely have a different set of weapons. Now of course it just says the same Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 logo. You got the same packaging you had with the Shredder and Splinter. The only real difference is between those is at the bottom it says Foot Soldier on each. This one says melee weapons and this one says bladed weapons. Over to the side of the box, you do get two different images of the Foot Soldiers. For the melee one, you have them with the nunchucks and also holding another weapon, which looks like the tonfas or like a nightstick. And then for the bladed version, you have him holding a sword or a katana, and then you have one of the sais tucked into his belt. Over to the other side, you do get the same picture with just the fisted hands for the Foot Soldiers. But then at the bottom, for the bladed version, you get him holding the big axe. And then for the melee version, you have him holding the nunchucks with the chain. So it's slightly different from the nunchucks on the other side. And then finally over to the back of the boxes, you do see it says Foot Soldier bladed weapons and Foot Soldier melee weapons on the other box. The description for both of them, however, is exactly the same. I mean, they are the same character, only just have different weapons. So same description. Again, you get those same images you see on the Shredder and Splinter boxes with the Turtles and that classic looking FHE logo that's now replaced with NECA. And then you get some really cool images of the Foot Soldier kind of just holding different weapons. And I think these are probably the quarter scale images, but I honestly can't remember, but they probably are. But either way, they do look really cool, and I like that they're featured with the different weapons that correspond to each of the figures. And here's the Wave 1 Raphael next to the Wave 2 Splinter, and you can see for the most part the packaging is exactly the same. Now there was a slight difference when they restocked the Wave 1. You can see the GameStop sticker is not on the one on the right. And that's basically because they were carried at other outlets by then. And then another thing that's really different about these two is that they actually had an error on Raph's face, so he kind of looks a little bit more angry. It's just basically his mouth and teeth were assembled slightly different, so it actually makes it look like a different head sculpt. And yeah, if you look at that mouth, you could really see how the teeth really look completely different from that original release. Alright, so here is the bladed foot soldier outside of the packaging, and you can see all the weapons and interchangeable parts for the most part are on his right side, and then you do have the Katana Sword on his left. And you do get a background with each one of the figures. You can see here it's just a little piece of cardboard, but it is cool if you want to do some photos. Now it does look like it's just the same background as we got with all the turtles, and I can't say 100% sure, but it does look like it's the same background with Shredder and Splinter as well. So I kind of wish we got a new background for Wave 2, but as it is, you do just get this backdrop. But we'll go ahead and get this out of the packaging, take a little bit closer look at the figure. Now looking at the bladed foot soldier here with his weapons and interchangeable parts, I do have this displayed like this for a reason. The reason is because you actually get two weapon holding hands, which is amazing. You actually did not get that with the SDCC versions of the foot soldiers. You only got one gripping hand per foot soldier. So this GameStop exclusive set, you do get two gripping hands per foot soldier. Now you can get your dual wield poses, or you can get your double-handed poses, like two-handed poses on the katana, two-handed poses on the axe. You just couldn't get that with that original release. So that is a huge plus, and the only real complaint about the foot soldiers from the SDCC sets. So that is great. Now besides those two gripping hands, you do get the two fisted hands, and then you also get the two relaxed or open hands, so you can do your choke poses or your karate type poses. So those are really cool. And then on the back side of each of the little hand guards, you do get that classic Shredder or like foot soldier logo. And then one more thing worth noting, when you take the hands off, the gauntlet can actually slide off, so just watch that from sliding off. It's made well, it's not going to break easy or anything, but it is a separate sculpted piece. NECA tends to kind of layer their figures, so there is kind of removable armor on there. Now besides the different interchangeable hands, you also get the interchangeable headband. Now of course you do get the two sides which he's holding here, which look really nice. You got the black grip with just the silver paint job all on it. Now what's worth noting about these, they are not the same as the ones that Raph has. His were more of a brown wrap, and the wraps go all the way up the sides of the sai. So it is a different sculpt, or at least a much different looking sai. And then you also get that classic nostalgic axe that you've seen the foot soldiers use in the 1990 movie, but you also see him kind of use these in like the cartoons at some point. Just a very nostalgic looking weapon. And then finally you do get the Katana Sword, which, like I said, the same with the axe and the sword. You can do a double-handed pose with those since you have the two gripping hands. And the katana's done pretty well, just the silver paint with the black handle. But overall, accessories are really nice on this. It is a slight improvement from the SDCC version, mainly just because of those two gripping hands, and it really does make a huge difference to have those different hands. Here he is holding the axe with both gripping hands. Here he is holding the katana with the two gripping hands. Also have the slightly different bandana posed on here. Here he is displayed with all of his weapons. You have the katana, the long handled axe, and then what's worth mentioning is he actually has a fabric belt where he can store the other accessories, so have the two sais stored on his back of the belt. But yeah, you can store anything on there, which is kind of nice. It's always like when a figure can actually hold all the included weapons. Alright, and here is the foot soldier with the melee weapons, and like I was saying, I mean, it does come with the same backdrop as we've seen with pretty much all of these releases. So that's alright, I guess. But then you can see all the weapons and interchangeable parts again, just like the bladed one, are displayed mostly on the right, but then you get the longest weapon on the left side. So let's go ahead and get him out of the packaging and get a closer look. Alright, so taking a look at the melee weapons foot soldier here, you do get some really cool extras, just like with the bladed one. First of all, you do get, of course, the 2 gripping hands, which is an improvement over the original, only giving us the single gripping hand. So again, just like with the bladed one, you do get the additional gripping hand. And then you also get the fisted hands, which came on the original, and the open or relaxed hands. And just like with all the other ones, you do get the cool logo on the back side of the guard, which is really cool. It's like that Shredder, like Foot Soldier, Dragon, Doji logo. And then as far as the weapons, you actually get an extra tonfa, or like the nightstick looking weapon that he has. I don't believe the original came with 2, so I think the additional hand went along with the additional tonfa, so now you can dual wield these, which is really cool. And then you also get the interchangeable bandana, just like with the other one. And I do believe that the original SDCC set only gave you 1 interchangeable bandana. I don't believe you got 2, so I think that's an added piece as well. And then you, of course, get the traditional nunchucks with that more of like rope inside there. And then you get the chain nunchucks, which are really nice. You have the real chain with the silver and the silver like studs kind of painted on there. And then you just have that classic bow staff. No real detail on that, just plastic. But overall, really good accessories with this. And just like with the bladed version, it is an improvement over the SDCC release. So you really can't complain about that. Here he is with the 2-handed pose, holding the bow staff. Here he is holding the chained nunchucks. Here he is holding the rope nunchucks. And just like the bladed foot soldier, you can actually store all the weapons on him, which is a huge plus. So you can see he's got the tonfas in both hands. He's got the metal chain nunchucks on his right of the belt. He's got this traditional nunchucks on the left side of the belt. And then I've got the bow staff tucked into the back of the belt. I've also changed the headband, like the back piece of the headband on him. So really cool. Again, you know, you get a figure that you can actually store all the weapons that come with him on the figure itself. One other thing that you don't get with this version that you got with the San Diego Comic-Con one is the weapons rack, which is kind of disappointing because the weapons rack is actually really, really nice. You actually will hold pretty much all the weapons that came with the SDC set in terms of what come with the Foot Soldiers and even Shredder. But you will not get this with the standard Gamestop versions. Now you will get the weapons, you just won't get the rack. And here's the bladed and melee foot soldier next to each other. And of course the parts are all interchangeable, and the weapons of course, so if you want to kind of switch it up and have some bladed weapons with some melee weapons, do whatever you'd like to do. They are pretty much the same exact figure, just different included parts. So really good. I definitely like these. They're definitely an improvement over the SDC releases. Now rounding out the Foot Clan is the one and only Shredder. Now this 1990 Shredder is probably NECA's top figure amongst these Ninja Turtle figures. I mean, it is pretty much perfect. And I'll be honest with you, I've collected a lot of NECA figures, especially horror and things like that. But the 1990 movie is one of my favorite movies. It really holds a special place in my heart as a Ninja Turtles fan and just a 90s, 80s, 90s kid. And as much as I love all my NECA figures, this Shredder figure might be my favorite NECA figure. I mean, it is that good. It is so freaking good, man. The cape, the weapons, just the overall look, it just has everything I've wanted in a Shredder figure. Now I do have the quarter scale version, I do have the SDCC version, and of course I do have the Gamestop version. Now I'm not going to open this Gamestop version, but I can tell you it is pretty much the same figure as the SDCC version. Only with very slight paint variance in the face, but really not much to warrant opening the figure. Now, one thing I will tell you about this figure compared to the quarter scale is you actually do get a wired cape for this version, which the quarter scale did not. And then another thing you get better with this version compared to the quarter scale is the face is a little bit better. It's like a little bit younger looking. The quarter scale kind of had a slightly older look to him, so they kind of improved it slightly in the face sculpt. And then they also did the eyes better. The eyeball position is far better on the 7-inch scale than the quarter scale. But we'll go ahead and take a look at this shredder a little bit. We're not going to get too far into it, but I do want to kind of show you what he looks like. So you do get some accessories with Shredder. First and foremost, you do get his famous like double-bladed like spear type of weapon, and you only really see him use this in the end of the 1990 movie when he faces the turtles. This is his primary weapon. So you do get that. Another weapon that you get is his small dagger, which you see from the final battle as well. And this is what he throws at Splinter before he takes a dive over the edge of the rooftop. And this actually has a little sheath that it could go in, so that's pretty nice. So you do get that. And if you wanted to, he has the same waistband as the Foot Soldiers, so you can kind of store that on that waistband. Now you also get a cape, which the cape is really, really well done. It does have that kind of like zebra stripe or like some kind of stripe pattern to it, and it kind of has that like foil look to it, and then you have the pleats all around, which is great. Now if you want, you can kind of just drape this cape completely around him, so you don't really see the body so much. But since it does have that wire, you can kind of like go over top of the blades, like you kind of see in that 1990 movie, like the scene where they actually introduced the Shredder. And once you get that cape kind of over those shoulder pads, you can really see all the details that are in this outfit. And that's what makes this figure just so good. You got all that sparkle from that 1990 look. You've got the rubber waistband or like the belt, but then you also have the cloth belt for the storing the weapons. And it just looks so good, man. I mean, this figure is just sick, man. I really can't think of anything else to say about it, but it's just absolutely amazing. But yeah, when you get that cape kind of out of the way, you could really see all the details in this outfit. Now you also do get some gripping hands for him, so you get 2 gripping hands, you get the open hands, and then you get the fisted hands. So if you want to interchange the hands, you can do that. Now the cape will actually come off. There's a little hook right in here, so you just have to basically get this hook to where it'll pop off, and then you have the Shredder without the cape. And I think a lot of people will display him without the cape, but with or without, I mean, he looks excellent. But again, you can really see all the sculpted details. I mean, look at that helmet, man. That thing looks so good. It's got the chainmail kind of like in the head part of the helmet. Then you got the spike at the top. Really nice looking blade. But all the detail just goes all over the body with the sparkles and everything. The blades are a bit of like a softer plastic, so they're not going to break on you, which is a huge relief. But yeah, man, overall, just the sculpt on this thing is just so freaking good. Now, I haven't really said much about articulation on these figures, but just want to mention that he does have double elbow joints, which is great, and he also has the double knee joints, which is really nice. So if you want to get some cool poses with your Shredder fighting the turtles or whatever you want to do, you could definitely achieve that. Now, I definitely want to talk a little bit more about this helmet, because the faceplate is actually removable, which is probably my favorite part about this figure. I mean, it's just so cool for this scale to have that is really great. Now, if I shine a little bit more light on that face mask, you can see that it does have that same look as the original, where it kind of has like a vent, just I guess so he could breathe a little bit better. And in the movie, you could actually see his mouth kind of through that vent, and you can kind of see it a little bit here as well. Now, to actually get the faceplate off, it's not too hard. You basically have a softer material on the sides of the helmet, and the sides of the faceplate basically connect into these, which look like ears but actually aren't. And another thing is you can adjust this mask a little bit without popping it off. So anytime you repose your figure, just make sure your mask doesn't look real silly. But yeah, you just pull that right. And once you have that faceplate off, it is a very, very good likeness of Rokusaki from the original movie. It's not dead on, but I'm definitely happy with how it looks. And again, that faceplate is really nice looking. But I really like the way this looks, and just like I said about the quarter scale, the eye, like the pupil placement on the eyes is far better on this small scale one than the quarter scale. And I think the face just looks a little bit more younger compared to the quarter scale, which is another huge plus. And you can definitely see the scars in the face of where Splinter scratched him when he was just like a little pet rat. So I do think they got the detail really, really well done on here. So overall, I'm just really happy with how this came out. Now you do have like these fake like ears on the inside of the helmet. So when you go to put this faceplate back on, they basically have to snap right into those like fake ears, and that's basically how this connects. So once you get it snapped right in there, it just goes right on. And again, you just adjust the faceplate to the right height. And it can actually hold that little dagger that he comes with in case you wanted to have him hold that. Overall, the Shredder is definitely my favorite of the series. Now the final figure in this wave is Splinter, and you can see that he is significantly smaller than Shredder or the Foot Soldiers. So he is very, very unique. Now, the one thing about this Splinter compared to the Splinter that you actually get with the GameStop exclusive is that he's a little more, I guess you could see he's a little bit more battle damaged, or like just a little bit more aged looking. I can't even find the right words. He's like dirty compared to the one that just came from GameStop. So my version that I have is from the SDCC version, and he's like a little bit different than this one. Alright, now besides the very slight paint application differences in this Splinter and the GameStop version, there is a couple differences in terms of accessories, and they're fairly big differences actually. For one, you do not get the shackles, and the shackles were basically just meant for that capture scene where the Foot Clan basically just has him chained to a fence, torturing him, questioning him where the turtles are. The only other accessory in terms of Splinter that you won't get is this little crate, which is pretty cool. It's just like a basic, looks like a wooden crate, but it is just simple cardboard. What I do like about it is you get a shipping label on there that says NECA, which I think is a nice little touch. And again, it's just got that like look of like a crate. The Splinter himself is a very, very good figure. Now, he's not quite as articulated as the Turtles or the Foot Soldiers or Shredder, but in terms of like the sculpt, it's very, very good. You do get that fabric robe like you see him wear in the movie, so that's really nice. I like the wear and tear on here. Now again, the wear might be slightly different on the GameStop version, but I do like all the little details, like the little slice in the ear from when Rokusaki sliced his ear when he was just a little pet rat. The hands are really well done, and then things like the bendy tail are a really nice addition just to kind of help him stand on his own. And he actually stands really good. I've seen people have some issues with him standing, but I think he stands just fine. But you do get some decent articulation in here. He is an old rat, and he's really not that fast in the old movies, so I think he's got enough for who he is. But yeah, overall, I really do like the head sculpt on here. I like the sculpt detail. Just in general, I think this is a really nice representation of that classic 1990 Splinter. And here's Splinter with the Wave 1 1990 Ninja Turtles. And you can see they scale really well together. Definitely a fun group of figures to have. And here is the 1990 Shredder posed along with the Wave 1 Ninja Turtles. And you can see that unlike Splinter, Shredder is definitely taller than the Ninja Turtles, which he should be, and definitely looks intimidating. And here's the Foot Soldier with the 1990 Turtles, and again you can see that he is taller than the Ninja Turtles, which he should be. Now just for fun, here's a comparison with some of the older movie star figures from the Ninja Turtles. You have the old Playmates toys, Foot Soldier, and the Splinter. And the Splinter is actually flocked, so he's got that fuzzy texture to him. But you can see the old ones are definitely significantly smaller. And for your final comparison, here is the Shredder next to some of the other classic style Shredders. So you have the Mirage Shredder, the 87 Toon version, and then the Ninja Turtles arcade version. Now these are all made by NECA Toys. Very, very happy with these figures. I've been happy with them since the SDCC release. I do think the Foot Soldiers offer more compared to that release, so they are an improvement. Obviously the weapons rack is probably the one I think most people will miss from this set. I don't think people would care that much about the cardboard box, but the shackles are pretty cool for Splinter, so you won't get that either. But again, you do get some extra things like the interchangeable hands, the hands for the Foot Soldiers having 2 gripping hands, the extra tonfa or nightstick that he comes with. So you do get some pluses and some minuses. I would definitely recommend it for anybody that loves these movies as much as I do. Now I've kind of touched on this, that I will be at Toy Fair coming up next week, or actually this week. It's coming up Saturday. We'll be there, so I'm hoping to do a couple videos of what NECA has coming for TMNT for 2020 and beyond. So hopefully I can get an interview with Randy. Worst come to worst, I'll at least have some coverage of the booth and get you some pictures and some video coverage. So thanks for watching my review. Please leave a comment or question if you have one. Please like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, see ya.